I'm the Sales Director at Pottsford UK.
And I'm Beck Owen. I'm the HR and Corporate Services Deputy Director at Pottsford UK.
We were at last year's event that Newcastle Hospitals put on, and we listened to the challenges that they face. And this year we've come back with a proposal as to how we think we can help. I'll just try to give a general overview as to Potts if you haven't heard of us before, and give you a sort of general indicator of what sort of company we are. So we were founded a long time ago in 1875 in North Shields, so we're a local business. Our turnover for a printing company, which is predominantly what we do, for this year will be around about £14.5 million to £15 million, with 101 employees, which are all local. Our HQ is in Cramlington, Northumberland. We have 2 sites which total 140,000 square feet, which is made up of a printing or manufacturing business, part of the business, and a storage and distribution. And our business has really been built on putting the customer first. So we have a continual investment program in not only machinery, but staff. So people that have a speciality and a requirement we have for the business. So myself, for example, started off 15 years ago in a direct mail company. Potts at that time didn't do direct mail. I came in with 2 or 3 others to really grow that sector, and that's the sort of mark of what we do as an organisation. So what do we do for the Trust? Put very, very simply, and there's a few other products in the Justice, but predominantly stationery, printed stationery, leaflets, booklets, forms, and flyers. And as part of that, we have an online ordering portal solution for the Trust, which they use every day. So what we find with our products that we offer for the Trust is there's massive economies of scale. So when you produce things in bulk, when you print things, as long as it's going to get used, it brings the cost down substantially, and it also reduces waste. So every quarter we'll report back to the Trust with management information on where to make cost savings and how to make things more efficient and sustainable. I'll just pass you on to Beck, who will tell you a little bit about how we monitor our carbon footprint.
So we're proud of being a carbon neutral business since 2020. We don't fall under the SECR regulations due to our size and turnover. However, we believe it's the right thing to do to monitor and reduce our carbon footprint and work towards net zero, not only for ourselves, but for our supply chain as well. Just to add as well, all of the items that we produce for the Trust that Dave previously mentioned are carbon neutral. So that's a combination of the paper products being carbon balanced, and the production at our facility is carbon neutral, which creates a carbon neutral product. Our Scope 1 and Scope 2 have been independently verified, and our footprint is currently offset with ecological charity, the World Land Trust. This money goes towards protecting 17 acres of standing forest in a verified carbon standard project in South America. Since our 2020 baseline, we have further reduced our carbon footprint by 17%. I'll just run over some of the things that we're working towards reducing our carbon footprint further in support of net zero. So we've mapped and independently verified our carbon footprint, and we've also published our net zero objectives and targets online, and they can be found on our website. Within the last 2 years, we've completely eliminated the use of natural gas in our facility, which is estimated to reduce our carbon footprint by a further 80 tonnes. We are currently underway with a £200,000 investment into a solar PV system, which is being installed on our main production facility in Cramlington. This is hoped to cover 80% of our electricity consumption, which will then be supplemented by a zero carbon tariff supply from the main grid. And this is planned to reduce our Scope 2 emissions 75 tonnes of CO2. We have a company fleet, which is made up of cars and vans, and 90% of that company fleet are either fully electric or plug-in hybrid, and we've got 40% which are plug-in hybrid and 60% which are electric. And again, they are powered by the solar PV system, which will be bringing the majority of our power to site. So with those initiatives, we are hoping to further reduce our footprint from what you've seen on the previous slide by 155 tonnes of CO2, which is a 57% saving on our 2020 baseline. I'll hand you back over to Dave to cover over what we discovered following last year's supplier day with the Trust.
So I think it's key to understand as part of our offering. We've got two sites. Okay, Atlas House, which is predominantly a production facility for print, which we currently service the Trust with, and Athena House. So Athena House is a distribution centre. We don't hold any raw product. It's all finished product for customers. It's roughly 75,000 square feet to give you the idea of size, and holds around 3,000 pallet bays. Within that space, we have production spaces for kitting. So part of our remit for other customers is to manufacture things in different printing techniques, combine them all together, consolidate them all together, and deliver them as one piece. So an example would be someone like Pandora Jewelry, who have 320 stores around the country. We will produce a mass campaign for them, consolidate it into a few boxes going to each store with instructions on what needs to be done to it, and then send it to site so it goes in one piece. Our existing operational systems currently in place for the Trust include a web portal, which is hosted by our IT team, which the Trust currently log on to and call off items for delivery next day. So to focus a little bit more on our storage and consolidation centre, Athena House, which we've been discussing there, and what we use it for the Trust. We hold approximately 8.9 million items currently for Newcastle hospitals. 1.1 million of those lines are split across 25 product lines we don't produce. They're produced by other suppliers and then shipped into pots. 407 product lines, which total 7.1 million items. We do produce and we manufacture here and store. So currently, the procurement team will call off around about 300 orders through our portal every month. And that's to our digital stock management I mentioned earlier. So it's a bit of a shopping experience, I suppose, through a website with secure login details that allows next day picking. Now that's supported by two things. There's the IT team. We write all our web systems here, and therefore look after them and tailor them to customers here. But we're people at the end of the day. We've got a client services team that respond to urgent requests and queries and what a product looks like, feels like, what the way it is. And it's a real life situation looked after by local people. Now our processes are very smooth and have to be, so that when an order is placed, it creates a pick and note, say over the road by the Athena House, and that allows us to be really efficient in being reactive to the Trust. As you can imagine, the type of products we're holding, it affects most people within the hospital, and so we have a lot of stakeholders to deliver to. Our location, if anyone doesn't know the area, we're based in Cramlington. Both sites are in Cramlington. We're roughly 10 miles away from both main hospitals, the Freeman and the RVI. And we're just at the edge of where the A1 meets the A19. So logistically, we're in a good position. So we attend, like I mentioned before, we attended last year's event, and we heard these things. We heard the guys saying they're working towards a net zero supply chain. They're looking for clean air and less traffic around the hospital sites. They're looking for a local supply chain where possible. They have a lack of on-site storage, so the hospital has been built not with storage in mind, and it's a city centre location. I think David Malone even mentioned the word consolidation centre. Looking for continuing cost savings. The NHS under pressure at the moment, and totally understandably so, why they'll be looking for savings. They're looking to monitor their environmental impact more. Looking for efficient deliveries where possible. I think Jason mentioned a closed loop waste stream. Looking for a detailed carbon reduction plan. Looking to establish stronger working relationships with suppliers and suppliers working together. and a collaborative approach to the city. So could it be a wider thing? Could it help with the council and universities as well? So we went away and had to think about where we could help. So you'd like to see this diagram quite a bit. We had a look at manufacturing. We know we've already done as much as we can on our manufacturing side to reduce our carbon footprint. But we thought, well, look, we might be able to help with waste and freight transport. So very sort of high level. This is the current model that the trust operates off. So they take direct deliveries in the hospitals from ourselves, direct suppliers regularly, parcel carriers, and the NHS supply chain, and waste goes out to a separate stream. So what we're suggesting to do is move as much of the current activity to a model that looks like this instead. So direct suppliers would ship out goods into us, which is an easier site to deliver to than being in the centre of town. And it's the site that's been built for taking bulk deliveries. Parcel carriers would also, even just one-off boxes, deliver to ourselves as well, and potentially NHS supply chain. We would then consolidate all the goods, put them on individual trolleys, which might go to a ward or department, a floor for the next day. So when they then arrives on a POTS van, it would be consolidated into one piece, ready for the porter to take directly to the place. And then we thought, well, look, rather than sending an empty van back to POTS, are there things we can help with? So can we store goods ready for call off at a later date, which is very similar to what we're doing with a lot of our printed products anyway. We collect waste and even post. We have 6 or 7 collections from postal providers in our factory every day. So as one of the points we're looking at, there's a focus on furniture, came up quite early in our talks. So I thought we'd focus a little bit more on this as a piece. So as we've identified, there's a lack of storage at the trust. They're looking to reduce spend. And obviously we're a sustainable event, we're looking to reduce carbon footprint, establish a closed loop waste stream and reduce emissions and traffic. So bear with us a little bit with this diagram, but if we maybe started at the hospital and worked our way back over, our empty van or currently empty van would collect the furniture, bring it back to our warehouse, and we then grade it. We then identify what can be reused with no work. We'd make that available on our current web portal so that suppliers could log on and rather than buy a new chair, for example, they might use a chair that's obviously been bought and paid for and then ship it back to the trust when there's an additional requirement for it. Can we repair it? Can we have a grading system where we have another supplier that maybe comes on site and has a look at 10 chairs together and repairs them? Obviously, worst case, if goods are no longer useful, can we recycle them? Can we work with the existing partners to recycle the furniture? Obviously, that would then go back onto the van, back to the hospital again. So the benefits would be minimising empty storage space. It would help support the trust of storage use. We'd be reusing rather than buying new, hopefully reducing costs. And obviously, it's working together, reduce the carbon footprint, reduce the waste going to landfill, and reduce the number of on-site deliveries. I'll pass it back on to Beck as to what we'll be monitoring.
So where I would step in as a resource within this project is to help measure the actual real life results with regards to the carbon footprint and the cost data. So looking at the breakdown of the number of pieces of furniture which are reusable by category and quality, the number of products that we can help facilitate to be repaired, the volume of recyclable products that are sustainably disposed of, so broken down into all of their component parts, metal, wood, for example, the number of deliveries back into the trust on a weekly or a daily basis, and also the carbon emissions eliminated from the supply by one carbon neutral delivery each day.
So I think one of the most key things we've got to get around this. Let's work together. So we're all specialists in our own area. So we, as part of our print service, have people who specialise in logistics and warehousing. But by no means can we uphold furniture or doing recycle stuff ourselves. That makes any sense in terms of we have external suppliers that do for us, but I'm sure the trust have tried and trusted suppliers that don't want to damage working relationships with. So I think the key thing is, can we work together to make a better solution for the hospitals? So I'd like to thank you for your time. I'd like to provide our contact details there to maybe reach out and get in touch if you think there's something we can work on together to the benefit of the trust.